after Kyiv was bombshelled during the UN Secretary General visit, do you think it's more safe now for the Portuguese Prime Minister to visit Kyiv, or there's always the risk that Russia can take this chance to target the city with one more warning, since there is a European Union country Prime Minister here?
Well, with those Russians, you cannot be assured of anything, especially in terms of security, 100%, even 50%. I'm really very honest with you. Just today, there were 2 missiles flying in the Kiev region, and they were intercepted by our air defense systems. But that's what they are. Well, they were doing it and will be probably doing it against any Ukrainian cities. It's nowhere safe anymore in Ukraine, and not in Kyiv, nor in Kharkiv, or Lviv, or any other region. They are firing these ballistic missiles because they don't know how to fight in the modern war. They can fire the ballistic missiles from the Caspian Sea, and that's what they're doing now. But definitely, your Prime Minister will have all the relevant security conditions and measures, and definitely it will be safe for him to travel.
In Portugal, our president announced publicly that the Prime Minister would be here in the end of this week. It's a bit unusual to know with such a forehead of a chief of government visit to Kyiv. Do you think such a leak could pose more risk to this visit?
And I never comment leaks. I always comment official information.
But he is the head of state, so he announced it like 4 days in advance.
You want me to commend your head of the state? No, I will definitely not commend your head of the state. But again, very important that our relations are having this very good, increase in dimension. Your country is helping us a lot in many areas in delivering weaponry which we require in having the support for sanctions in the European Union, in placing our IDPs and hosting our Ukrainians who had to flee the country. I know that the number of Ukrainians even doubled during the wartime. You already had a very big Ukrainian community, but for the time being it's even bigger. Hopefully they are not disturbing you, and they are really good European nation, hardworking, knowledgeable, knowing languages, including Portuguese, and they want to work in your country. But as soon as the situation is better here and we win, most of Ukrainians will definitely come back. So again, this would show us that the first ever historical visit of Prime Minister of Portugal, whenever it takes place, would be very important to both our countries.
What exactly do you expect that the Portuguese Prime Minister brings in this visit? What do you expect him to announce? What is more important for you?
I'm hoping your Prime Minister will declare further support of Portugal on the political level. I hope your Prime Minister would also bring some details and further support of your country in terms of weaponry supply. We badly need enough weaponry to start deblocking the cities in the south of Ukraine, to win the battle in Donbass and to unblock all the captured territories. It will be very interesting to hear about what's going on in the European Union vis-a-vis sanctions, 6th package, because the debates are intense. But we count on every country to support this very important issue of embargo on oil, because every euro or dollar Russia earns trading with the European Union on oil, gas, or other commodities, it's immediately spent to the military industry of Russia, enabling them to produce more ballistic missiles, fighter jet tanks, in order to kill more Ukrainian civilians and soldiers. And definitely we count that your Prime Minister will be ready to speak about further restoration of Ukraine, and because after we win, we will need immediately to restore the territories of Ukraine. And my president suggested to all the European Union member countries to take this or that region or city in Ukraine and have a kind of patronage over these or that cities. So imagine in a short period of time there will be a piece of Portugal somewhere in the areas which are now destroyed, but will be definitely renovated by means of Portuguese investors, by means of Portuguese companies.
Is there any piece in particular that is
that's
already in mind?
That's not up to your leadership to pick it. Some countries have already confirmed their willingness to restore this or that area. So we are not pushing your government or your prime minister, but definitely would be good for him to have this idea in mind.
1 month ago, in 21st of April, when President Zelensky spoke to the Portuguese Parliament, he asked specifically that Portugal, he requested that Portugal gave him some Leopard tanks and some Harpoon missiles. Do you think, and some BTRs also, do you think, do you know if Ukraine is going to manage that Portugal give to Ukraine some of these equipments specifically?
Well, I will not comment you, sorry for this, about the details of the weapon supply, because obviously it's a secret information, and we do not want aggressor country to get used to this information. But among the items you mentioned, it's everything we need. I told you about ground weapons. It's definitely we need artillery system, we need armored vehicles and tanks. But if you're talking about anti-missile, anti-ship missiles, yes, we need them, because the sea, all the ports are blocked by the Russian Federation, be it Black Sea ports or ports of Azov, and it have several implications. First of all, they continue to shell Ukrainian cities from their ships. They are shelling the city of Odessa, for instance, from their military vessels. So that's why we definitely need anti-ship missiles in order to stop those shelling. Secondly, the ports being blocked, it's absolutely impossible for us to export our grain and other crops to the European Union countries and to the rest of the world, like the Middle East or Africa, and we have plenty of supply which we are ready to export despite the wartime. So Ukraine is caring about the world's food security. But unfortunately, you cannot export this same amount through other means, like through railway or by roads or by river. The capacity is very limited. So that's why all the international community, European countries and Portugal among them, should think how to unblock, or at least to have a safe corridors over the Black Sea in order to immediately start the exports of Ukrainian goods. Otherwise, all the world is at serious danger of having a real huge food crisis. Well, again, we will not speculate here in the open air, but there are means. If first of all you need to talk to the aggressor country, very simple. You have to make a ceasefire. Definitely, we need an immediate ceasefire across the whole country. That will be the only good step Russia can make. But at least for some period of time, when you're exporting something, you can make a ceasefire, and there should be guarantees that you will not fire at the vessels, at the peaceful vessels, at the civilian vessels, which will be taken and bring in civilian goods.
President Zelensky talked to the European Council. He listed Portugal in a group of countries who was not totally convinced to support Ukrainian entry in the European Union. The expression he used was Portugal almost. Has there been any change in this assessment? Do you hope that the Portuguese Prime Minister declare here in Kyiv total support to a faster entry of Ukraine in the European Union?
We definitely put much hope on the position of your Prime Minister, on a very simple reason. There are no reasonable, limits. Why not grant Ukraine the candidate status, for instance, in June? Just to remind you, we summoned the application to the European Union in times of war, 4th day of war. But before that, we had a very huge successful path on our way to the European Union. We are fulfilling the association agreement. More than 65% of this association agreement is fulfilled. European Union has made a positive assessment of the level of our obligations done. Secondly, we filled in the questionnaire which European Commission sent us, 5,500 pages, several volumes of the text which was submitted within 4 weeks to the European Commission. 4 weeks. this took several years for some countries to fill in this questionnaires. We filled in at times of war. We submitted this information. Now European Commission is drafting an opinion or avis regarding whether Ukraine is adhering to the Copenhagen criteria. And provided that this opinion is positive, and we will have the first draft by the beginning of June, it's absolutely logical to support the next step, which is candidate status of Ukraine, in the end of June, when the European Council session will take place. What are the constraints? No constraints. I just checked the latest figures from Eurobarometer when the citizens in every country were asked whether they support Ukraine joining to the EU. You know what is the percentage in Portugal? 90%, 90% of your people, of Portuguese, support Ukraine's entry into the EU. So we would logically think that Prime Minister of Portugal would support his people in their readiness to have Ukrainians next to them, as they are having them already now. That's why definitely we will not understand if in June, on this or that bureaucratic reasons, on these or that, inventions about some other ways how not to make Ukraine closer to EU, be it some, artificial drawbacks or whatever. So if not, there will be a unanimous decision of having the candidate status. Ukrainian soldier who is fighting against Russian aggression will not understand it. Ukrainian mother and children who are hiding here in Kiev from Russian ballistic missiles and the shelters, but definitely wanting their children to be in the European Union rather than in the Russian world, will not understand it. Now, more than 95% of Ukrainian support joining the EU. It's the record high number within all the independence years. But imagine if nothing will be delivered in June, probably we'll lose the faith in the European Union. And I don't think that it will be a best case scenario for all the Europeans. We are defending now not only Ukraine, but also all the European continent. And we deserve to be a part of your family.